so that they don't sell ugly bonsai. That's very embarrassing. I want the whole industry to do well. You know, rising tides lifts all boats. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. And today I work on this old Zelkova tree. I had it for many, many years. It grew kind of thick trunk, and then I cut it off. It's a tall tree. I cut it off here. And actually 3 branches came out. I cut off the other one. So 2 branches remaining. And I never knew quite what to do with it. And I came across this photo of this Zelkova tree. That's almost identical to this one. And so I decided to emulate this tree. And it's a tree in this book called 4 Seasons of Bonsai by Kyuzo Murata. I got it from eBay because it's out of print. So this is actually a fairly old book. The first printing is 1991. And I got it for $7, which is really a lovely, lovely book. So I would try to emulate this bonsai. What's of interest is that this Murata individual, his father was actually a samurai, which means his family is very loyal to the imperial royal family. And so he was actually, because his big bonsai expertise, Murata-san was actually the curator for the imperial bonsai collection in the palace in Tokyo. So, and some of his trees in this book are over 900 years old. So the tree that he had is several hundred years old, could be. And it's basically a classic broom style, which is very popular. And so that's what I'll try to make this tree look like. Several things I want to point out about this tree. I pulled this pot out about 3-4 days ago to put it in the staging area, and I forgot to water it. And just in that short period of time, you can see the leaves are all dried out. And if I pull my hands on it, they will all come off, most of it. Some will remain because not all of them are dried out. It shows you keeping the bonsai wet is a really important thing. You never let the root ball dry out. It damages the tree very quickly. So I water it last couple of days, and it would be okay. But in a sense that one other thing to note is that the tree actually will do to itself to save the tree. So there will be young leaves remaining, the old leaves dry out, and the tree will rejuvenate from the remaining leaves. So I can actually now do so-called the removing all of the leaves, defoliating to see where I'm going with the tree, so that makes the pruning easier. So I would try to create this tree into a broom-style form with a little bit of hat. Now, what I will do differently from that book, from the existing Japanese bonsai, typical is a very dense hat. You don't see what's inside, but what I would do is keep the hat not so dense so that you actually see the branches. So I think that's would be taking the idea and trying to improve on it, even though I shouldn't be so bold as to use the word improve, but certainly differentiate from what they do. At least more suitable for my liking. So with that in mind, then, I will start to work on this tree. Now, usually what I do is that I would pull the tree out of the bottom to work on the roots first, because the roots is part of the design. But in this case, I don't really need to do that because the roots are very symmetrical and the top is very symmetrical, so it really doesn't matter. But I do have to pull the tree out later at the end to make sure the roots are not intertwined and winding and curving. Doesn't look very strong in a sense of wimpy. So with that in mind, then I'll just work on it. Now, the fact that my goal is to have a tree like that, I probably would not make the two go out like that because that's not a very that's too symmetrical. It would not be very artistic. And also, I probably wouldn't show this dead branch totally up front facing the front. So likelihood is I would do a little bit twisting. So when you go to the side, you can see this. But the two are not so much like going out like this, but it's like this, which is a little bit more pleasant. So with that in mind, then I would just do an outline. I want the tree to be like this big, with a lot of with a lot of growth. So just go for it. Just cut off. Like I would just cut off this. Right. Just follow the outline that of the tree. Ultimately, height the top will be like. So this will be coming down like this. So it's like do a haircut. So that's how you do a broom style. When I first started bonsai, I think a broom style is I take a tree with a tall branch, a Zelkova typically, or elm. I cut it right here, then they come out, and then I cut it here, and then they come out, and I cut it here, and so that's how I build my broom. Well, I don't think so. I think that may be one way to do it, but that's not a quick way. The quick way to do it is to do an outline. And then any branch that's coming out that's not going in that direction, you cut it off. So eventually all the remaining branch will be like a broom going out symmetrically. So those are the little tricks you figure out eventually. Bonsai books never tell you that. So I want you to listen to my video. I'm trying to share with you the stuff I learned the hard way, trying to figure out on my own. But I'm sharing freely with you, and I hope other bonsai manufacturer or bonsai maker will follow the same. I don't mind improving what they provide so that they don't sell ugly bonsai. They call it bonsai as bonsai. That's very embarrassing. I want the whole industry to do well. So, rising tides lifts all boats. So I wish their business is good. It's not a competition. We all win at the end if we just earn our own fair share. Right, just got to be good at what you're doing. So that's my business philosophy all along with all even the tech companies I built. I make good friends with my competitors, and we did okay. So you can see I can do a tree like that, but actually I prefer to be more like this and then this. So it's like implied there's this, but maybe there's some in the middle that's tall. But at least one of them is on the side. So maybe one possibility to make this tall and then make this a little bit lower. So that's what I'll do, just to introduce a little bit of asymmetry to make the tree look artistic. So even though it's basically this form, but this side will be a little bit lower, this side a little bit taller to make it a little bit more interesting. So looking at a distance and ignoring some of the branches I didn't cut off, it's basically the form that I want it to be. So you can see this is basically getting close to the form that I want it to be. Right, and then I can just take my time, come around to prune all of this until it's to my liking. And the detail really doesn't matter that much because this tree, this style, is to be enjoyed at a distance. So next time when the branches, leaves come out, I will come here and cut off the redundant, the one that grew too fast, and cut off the ones that shouldn't belong the branch. And then, like I said, any branches that go in the wrong direction, I cut it off to eventually create the impression all the branches are going out like this. So I don't need to do too close a detail, but come and do it again 3 months from now, because the thing will be grown to probably about this size. Then I just do the same thing again to enhance the ramification inside. So that's what I would do to the tree. But now what I'll do is I take it out of the pot. Every time I rework it, I would like to make sure, at least in the beginning, make sure the roots are in good shape. And I think the problem with this tree is that was planted many years ago in this pot, and I follow my old instruction of putting a lot of compost material in it, which actually dries out fairly quickly. And if it dries out, the water runs out, and that's why the leaves got dry out fairly quickly. But you can see there's remaining plenty green leaves left that the tree will survive and would shoot out very nicely in time. So let me pull this tree out of the pot. You see the roots are growing out of the pot. So if you put it on the ground, these roots will actually fairly quickly grow into the ground and get to thicken the tree very quickly. Salcova is a very vigorously growing tree, and in fact you'll find so much roots, fibrous roots, that it's really a good bonsai material. And I'm not going to disturb the bottom roots too much. It's all very fibrous roots, very good, because I want it to grow fast. I really mainly want to see the roots up front on top. And so what I would do is I put it right back in the growing pot. And when I'm ready to put it in the bonsai pot, where the roots get exposed to, let's say down here, I'll use a reciprocal saw and cut off this part, and then comb this out and go in the pot. It's very easy. So now I will comb out around the roots to make sure they are going out radially. And I think exposing part of the roots shows the age in the wilderness is a good thing. So you don't want to bury the trees too tall, and you want to get it to where the roots starting to go out, and make sure they go out radially to show strength, reaching out to the earth to anchor the tree with a lot of force, a lot of strength. So you see the tree is actually taller than it appeared before, because quite a bit of the trunk is buried until you hit the roots, where the roots starting to spread out to show the strength of the tree. Like this root isn't too good, but I may have to live with it because it's not going out straight. Maybe I'll try to put a piece of rock on. Oh no, here's one. You see, like here's a root. So I will cut this off. So make this root take over, and that will make the roots go radially out. And like this one is inside too. So hopefully I'll find adjacent roots that's radially out. And if not, I just let some small roots grow out, and it will thicken when it's tasked to do the job, and it will live up to its task. See, all the rough breakage actually give the tree a lot of characters, just as if it grew up in a rough wilderness, because the tree is really, bonsai is to really emulating nature, to see what the tree have lived through the millennia to survive, and that's what gives it the character. Here the trunk is this size, down there is this size, so that again creates the impression of the age. So I would try to cut off a little bit of the roots. It would never hurt it, famous last word. So there are a lot of roots that I can use, so it will not hurt the tree that I cut off some roots for the sake of the better look design when the tree is mature in a bonsai pot. Look at that tapering out, really beautiful. Well, the bonsai photo that I show you is probably a couple 300 years old. I read it one time. This one certainly is more in the 50 to 70-year-old range, but I think it'll come pretty close. And we shouldn't really be talking about age because it's to create an impression of what you want you to believe. So here's one root that's going out to the side, where this root is coming out radially out. So what you to do is that before they fuse to become one, you cut it off now, so that you kill this root, and you break it kind of rough, so that when it heals, it gives it a little bit more character. So instead of this wimpy root comes this way, now you have a root radially going out. And it's not 100% radial, but so what you can do is you can actually do a little bit of clipping here. You cut it so that the fibrous roots will grow out this way, and then eventually become a root comes out this way. So you see almost every one of my tree has good looking roots. That didn't happen by accident. Fairly early on in their life, I tried to prune off the redundant roots so that they will look nice. So like this root is right now going off at a little bit more of an angle than the radially out, should be in this angle. So what I'll try to do is I try to pull it out and stick it closer to a more radial angle like this one, right? So when I put in the soil, I'll make sure that they put this way. So this will be another root coming out this way. And you just go around and do all of the roots. So there's plenty of roots coming out radially this way, but there's also roots that are, you see, like stuck. It's not going out radially. So if I just cut it, then it will force the other radial ones to strengthen. So you just have to be brutal with whatever you have. Like I'm just going to cut it radially so that all the roots that are not going out radially are getting pruned, and then the ones that are going out radially will come out, grow out stronger, more dominant. Eventually then all the roots will be radial. Like this one is sticking up. So why is it sticking up? That doesn't make any sense. So I'll just cut it. So there will be no roots that's sticking up. Everything is nicely going down, radially down. So like this one, I'll try to pull it out a little bit. Right, so it's radially out just by putting some soil in the middle. So now I'm done. I will put it back. So what I've done today is I took a old Salcova tree I've grown for many, many years. Probably 15, 20 years ago, I didn't know what to do with it. The tree is probably about this big. I cut off the top, and then several branches came out. I cut off the rest to make the two remain. And I right now trying to make this into a bonsai. That's motivated by seeing this tree. It's a very old tree, couple 100-year-old tree, kept in the correct collection of the Imperial Bonsai Collection curator. And what I've done is I basically create a little bit more depth by making this the front, and then this one kind of going to the back, to the side. So at a distance, you still see this, but it's not like a two arms sticking out like that. And what I also did is that prune off the top to create the image of the outline of what I wanted to do. And then I'll come back as a new growth comes out to make sure all the branches are following more or less the radially up angle, so that eventually I'll create this standard classic bonsai, the broom-style Salcova design. I think this would be a very nice looking tree. Probably 2 or 3 years will look nice, but 20 years will look classic. So it'll be, I would say, I hate to brag, but it will be close to what the one, I said philosophical, it'll be classic to what Murata has. So that's how you do it. You take a straight branch, you cut it off, let it grow out, you shape it, and to create your broom-style bonsai, which is a highly desirable favorite design. So with that in mind, I thank you for watching this video. Click like if you think I'm informative. That's my reward and brownie points. And subscribe to our channel. See you next week.